I want to ask you about a vexing problem. So, we have had very progressive candidates who have been running on economic populism, and I think with an agenda that it would really resonate in red areas, rural areas. But when you look at how they've done, like in Wisconsin and Michigan, they're losing those voters. And so I want to ask your expert opinion as somebody who's in the trenches. What do progressive candidates have to do, or just Democrats in general, to break through with voters that clearly have some trust issues?
They have to be there. They have to be in the communities. They have to have people running for office that everyone knows. When I would go and knock a door, people recognize me, or they recognize me from being from the community. So it's hard to say I'm a baby killer, I'm a gun grabber, I'm all these terrible things when they actually know me. So you have people in their communities working within their communities. That's why it's important to have everyone, on a down ballot, people that recognize, their people there. Don't be scared of saying things like, you should have health care. You should have funded schools. Your taxpayer money should go to things that are good for you. People have to be reminded of that. And I think that's crazy, right? But it's true. You have to remind them your taxes are supposed to go to you.
Yeah, it's funny. There's this meme going around that's like imagined conversation between a Democrat and a MAGA, and they're like, "Hey, you spend $8,000 a year on insurance. What if we raise your taxes $2,000 and you didn't have to pay $8,000?" And they're like, "No, no, no." They're like, "Well, do you want to not pay? Do you want to save $6,000? Yes. Do you want to pay $2,000 in taxes? No." Right? It is a weird messaging situation, and I think that you're right. One of the lessons that I hope more candidates learn from Mamdani is the same thing you're saying. Show up, be there, ask questions, listen.
Right. And that's why it's so important that it's someone from your community that you know. I know in a lot of rural spaces, they won't have a candidate, or maybe someone will say, hey, why don't we go knock a few doors? And they'll send somebody from God knows where to come knock a door somewhere. And it doesn't work, because you have to understand the community that you're in, right? And so I know I knocked doors with a young person from Columbia, and bless her heart, she was sweet as she could be. But the first door was a neighbor right down the road from me. And she said, hey, I'm so-and-so from Columbia. Would you like to talk about politics? And the lady's like, no, and shut the door, right? And I was like, oh God. So I had never knocked a door, but I got the next one because I know my neighbors. And that's how we have to talk to people. And like you said, not be scared. My neighbors could look at Mamdani and just say, well, he said he was going to do these things. He did these things. What's wrong with that? He's actually doing the things that Democrats have been saying they were going to do for a long time. And that's why I get excited about the left. That's why I get real excited about progressives, because they say big things and then they try to do them.
And so I think that for Democrats, there's this knee-jerk reaction like, okay, if we're going to talk with rural voters, it's got to be kitchen table issues. It has to be, economic issues, which are, of course, important. Nobody likes paying more for gas, and nobody likes the tariffs. So those are logical, I think, arguments to make. But we're seeing a real revulsion against other policies from Trump. I mean, ICE is not popular anywhere. And so I'm wondering, what are the things that you're hearing on the doors beyond just the economy, where people are starting to respond to what Republicans or what Trump is doing in a very negative way, even if they voted for him?
Well, the things that it's what I'm not hearing. You don't hear anybody talking about trans kids. You don't hear anything about bathrooms. You don't hear anything about, trans kids playing sports. You don't hear anything about gay folks getting married. You hear none of that. You do hear, I can't afford gas. I can't afford groceries. And I finally thought I was going to get to retire. And now I'm having to help my adult kids. I don't know what to do. And so they are realizing it is noise. And if you go online and you listen to it, it's all about trans people, right? It's a trans panic. When you knock a door, no, it is not. People can't afford their daily lives. I lost my health insurance in January because they took away the tax subsidies, and my monthly rate increased by double. And so that's what is happening. And then when you think of rural spaces, it's double that, because you think a farmer, he gets his insurance from the marketplace, or quite frankly from Medicaid. That's where a lot of people are receiving their insurance out here. It's getting cut. And so rural spaces are just like every other space. I mean, they need the same things. It's just a different lifestyle. But we all, if you went into Kansas City, into an urban neighborhood, they have a defunded school. Me too. They don't have access to healthcare. Me too. They don't have access to childcare. Me too. Can't afford your groceries, can't afford your gas. Same problems, just looks different.
Yeah, the scapegoating is really, it's remarkable. And I feel like when you see other Democrats pounding policies that actually help the constituents, and look, again, not to harp on Mamdani, but whatever his policies, he's working on behalf of those who voted for him, right? And so I'm curious about the candidates in Missouri who you got. Let's talk about your roster, because that's really what this is all about, right?
And I just came from an event that was sold out down in Franklin County, Union, Missouri, 10,000 population, completely sold out. And there were 5 different candidates there. There were candidates running for things like county commissioner. You never hear that. I haven't been able to vote for a county office in a decade. And now, you know what happened? You know what's real important about county commissioners? They're the ones who are regulating these data centers. And now all of a sudden, everybody knows what a county commissioner is, right? And so when these data centers or school defunding comes in, people wake up and go, oh God, I've been asleep because I've been at work and I haven't been able to pay attention. But we have candidates who are so good. Fred Wellman is running for Congress against Ann Wagner down in the 2nd. I mean, he graduated from West Point. He's been in Iraq 4 times, graduated from Harvard with his master's. He's running against a woman that hasn't had a town hall in a decade, who won't show up to anything. He's going anywhere, talking to everybody, a very well qualified candidate. I think he might win. And that's crazy, right? Wow. I've got, there's a race up here where I am, where my 26-year congressman decided to call it quits. He was tired of, I think, trying to take up for Trump all this time. He's a Republican. The Republican running in his stead, who just won the primary, the only thing he's saying is, I support Trump. And I said, good. I hope you take that message to the doors. Good job, friend. You're going to get your butt kicked in this, with what's going on right now. So just seeing these candidates who know the issues, who know what people need, and who are saying it, just gives you, so much joy, so much hope. It's incredible to watch.